Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It is Donovan Rose from Nerd Initiative, and today we are going to be talking about the Orville New Horizons. And I am joined by Jonathan Chu, aka Marvelous Johnny, on TikTok and Instagram. He is a wonderfully talented contributor here at Nerd Initiative. So I'm super excited that we get to talk about this show together. So,
Hell yeah.
Johnny, this new season, we've waited, what, 3 years for the Orville to come back? You've been a fan since the
Right?
beginning, right?
I was like, I remember seeing the commercials and everything, and then the first episode premiered. I recorded it on my cable box back when I still had one, and I just kept watching it weekly because, like, after episode one, I'm like, this isn't terrible. Okay, like I can get into this. We'll see where it goes. And now it is what it is, and it's just my favorite TV show of the year, I think.
Yeah, honestly, and when I originally heard about it too, like back in 2017, I was like, this is probably going to be dumb. Seth MacFarlane,
Right?
like Family Guy, American Dad, and doing like a live action. Like I've seen like A Million Ways to Die in the West or whatever that live action
Hmm.
movie he did. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to be, and I never really watched like Star Trek or anything. So
Same. Like I
this
tried
was
getting into Star
completely
Trek, I
new.
couldn't.
I couldn't get in. Yeah, I couldn't get into it. So when they were like, oh, it's like a spoof of that, I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And then
Hmm.
season one was so good, and season
Right?
two was really good as well. But
It
I think
just
season
keeps
three by
stepping
far, yeah, it
up.
is. It is absolutely, this season was my favorite. Since Hulu took over from Fox and everything like that, I think that the game has stepped up a lot. We started with and the episodes too got substantially longer. It's not like
Yep.
40 minutes. It's a full movie for each episode essentially. And I mean, I'm not complaining. I absolutely loved it,
No,
and
same. All I gotta
especially
say is just thank you to Disney for
right,
giving Seth MacFarlane like the Hulu network, I guess, to make the show because there's just that substantial increase in quality, right?
yeah.
Like even in the visuals alone.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the costumes look so much better. Isaac, he
Isaac,
got an
I love his
upgrade.
upgrades,
Yes, the
his
Orville
breastplate,
itself looks better. Like
right?
it's I just think that this was definitely a step in the right direction, especially for fans of the show. It went I was kind of scared, to be honest, when I knew that like Hulu, I know Hulu doesn't necessarily have the best original shows and things like that
Mm-hmm.
all the time, so I was a little skeptical, but I think they did a fabulous job. And we
Right?
waited 3 years. We got that first episode, and it kind of picked up a little bit right where we left off after the Battle
Yeah.
of the Kalon and everything like that. What are your thoughts on the first episode? It was kind of dark, and it was
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah,
like this is very serious and like oh like are we mentioning spoilers? I feel like we got
yeah, we
mentioned
can, yeah,
spoilers.
we can.
Yeah,
The
okay.
season's over,
Exactly. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it, come back,
right?
because we're spoiling shit. But fucking Isaac kills himself?
Oh my gosh, literally, like, wow, went from 0 to 100 real quick. We've seen like different emotional things in the
Right?
show, but suicide and by a robot, like, how sad do you have to be as a robot who doesn't have feelings to kill yourself? Like,
It's even more sad when you realize that like Isaac is really smart. He always looks for like the most logical choice to make. And the fact that he reached the conclusion of, yeah, no, just killing myself is the way to go. I'm like, what the fuck?
right. And I felt, I mean, justifiably so. People were kind of upset with him. But I
Exactly,
think
you
that the
know.
extent that they took it was a little too far. I mean, he obviously is working on the ship. He is different. And then
Hmm.
Charly, who, oh my gosh, Charly, we got introduced to Charly this episode.
Such a
And
complex
oh my,
character.
literally, I hated her at first. She was just so mean. And I mean, I understood it. She lost her
Exactly.
love, but come on, Charly, you are on a professional ship. You
Exactly.
but
But
no,
like at
this
the same time, you get it because like you know what, I understand you're hating all that, but like a lot of the stuff you're putting him through, because like I love Isaac. Isaac is my favorite character. Even before this new season, I
mhm.
loved Isaac. So the fact that he killed himself, very much so because of Charlie's actions and repercussions from everything that else he did, I'm just like, I don't know whose side I'm with here because like I'm sad that Isaac did and I'm mad at Charlie, but I can't blame Charlie for her anger. It's just
Right.
damn.
No, but I think this was a very good season, like an
Yes.
episode to step into the season and pick up where we left off. We kind of saw the repercussions of what happened with the Kalon battle and everything like that.
Right?
Got introduced to a couple new characters and everything like that. It did feel a little bit different at first. It didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
so much like the Orville, but as we got into the episode and as we got on into the season, it felt right at home with the Orville.
Mm-hmm.
That much at all.
I did
And
rewatch a season 1 and 2 after we finished season 3, and there is some definite differences. Like the jokes are there aren't as many jokes in season 3, like or at least noticeable ones. Like they're much more clever and like if you get it, you get it kind of jokes.
Yeah, and I definitely think the overall sense and tone of this season was a lot more mature and
Hmm.
everything like that than the previous seasons. Like they were like a spoof of Star Trek in the previous seasons, whereas this one I feel is almost settling it into its own show. It's not so much a
Exactly.
spoof; it's its own show, and
Right.
and I think that is hopefully we get more of it because this
Hmm.
was a great season. That first episode was completely emotional, and then we got
I
into the second one, and
second one. That's
we
I think that's the weakest one of the season, in my opinion, with the
it,
spider people
yeah,
thing.
yeah. This one was one of my least favorite of the season. There was another
Yeah.
one that I didn't really like, but this one I do like that we learned more about Claire, that she was married before, and then she has a
Yes.
whole past and everything that we didn't even know about.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like this is almost a filler episode. There wasn't really that much. It kind of left. I mean, it did leave the door open a little bit because these alien creatures at the end of that
They
episode, they
just
were like,
spread.
"We're gonna leave, but not forever." And we never
Exactly.
saw them again in this season. So it's almost potentially setting up like, hey, we need more because we
Exactly.
need to see these things come back.
Hmm.
Um, but I definitely
And
think, oh, sorry, what were you
I
going
was
to
just
say?
gonna say, like, in terms of like the episode itself, I don't love it, but I feel like the moment it pays off in future episodes, I can see myself even like really liking this episode to say the least.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. It's one of those that you need to appreciate later on when something actually
Hmm.
comes off of it versus liking it right now necessarily.
Exactly.
And then yeah, so number episode number one was definitely my favorite out of the first two. Episode one probably on my ranking list in the top five of this season, but
Episode one, 100%
yeah,
top
but
five. Yeah.
episode two definitely in the bottom half for me.
Right. And then episode three, like that
This was
was
like
that was
Inception.
Inception,
Yeah,
right?
Inception meets Multiverse of Madness. Like I
Meets no the Orville.
right. I was so confused. I had no idea what was going on throughout this. Like
Yeah.
they landed in a school and then they go into a plane and then like everything. It was so crazy and confusing.
And then we end up with Elizabeth Gillies showing up. I'm like, hi, Jade from Victorious.
Oh my gosh, that's who that I was like
Exactly.
I rewatched that episode today and I'm like this girl looks so familiar.
I remember
Wow.
watching it. I'm just like, I see your face, but like due to the CGI and all that, like, is that really you? Like, let me do some Googling. I'm like, oh shit, that is actually Jade from Victorious.
Wow, that completely blew my mind. That makes so much sense. I was like trying to figure out who is this girl? I know her. But yeah,
Right?
that and it turns out like see some of these episodes set up something for the future. This one I feel like probably didn't like they were like, "Oh, we've been watching you guys." This was kind of just like like this one I feel
Hmm.
like it was kind of a one and done. We may see
It was a payoff from another episode. I just
Yeah.
don't remember which one. I think
Yeah,
it was the one where Kelly landed on the planet and then like they go back and then they just severely progress throughout history.
yeah,
I
they said
think
that like
that's
every
the
time they
one.
went in, they advanced so far and everything
Yeah.
like that. And then Kelly was like the god of that planet or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, that was a fun episode. It was fun. That's what it was. I
It
feel
was
like
a
this one
very
was
good episode as
yeah,
well.
it was more for you know not the emotions like the other ones that
Hmm.
we were getting. It was a nice little break from the constant heartbreak.
Exactly. And I think it's just like you don't always need those episodes, but like these episodes as well, they can still act as very good like character pieces. You guys see a bit more into the mind of our characters, how they problem solve as well, which I really liked, honestly.
Yeah,
Right?
and you get to see their development and everything like that, even with these smaller episodes that may not mean a whole lot. But if you look at the little
Hmm.
details, they really do play in the course of the whole thing. And I
Hmm.
think that is what's really good about this show. Like every little thing matters, and every little piece will come into play at some point or another, whether it's in this season or it's in a future season. Like we just saw with this
Exactly.
episode three, it was something from the previous season. Um, and then that got us into
Episode
number
4,
four,
which I think
which
is my favorite episode.
I liked this episode. Um, episode five was my favorite. But episode that's
Oh,
the tale of two.
yes.
Yeah, but episode four, I did like this one a lot. This is the one, oh gosh,
This is
refresh my memory.
this is the one where the crew lands on the Krill planet and they're about to go through with the peace delegation until what's her name? Um
Um, Tiala, it's like
no.
Tiala or no.
Let me quickly do some Googling here, okay? Orville Krill. Uh Frick. What's her name? Talea. There we go.
Talea. Okay,
Talea.
yeah. I know it was
Yes.
something with the T. Talea. Yeah, so she yep. Okay. And then yeah, we also had like the little love relationship between Lamar and the she was oh my gosh, I forget her name, but they were trying to have some sort of relationship and they just ended up in the infirmary every 5 seconds because
Oh, right.
that didn't work out.
Tala.
Yeah, Tala. Yeah,
Yes.
Tala and Lamar had tried to have a relationship. Didn't work out.
It was
Uh,
really funny though. I really liked those two
that yeah,
together.
that was it was
It
really
was
funny.
sad to watch their relationship break,
It
honestly.
was, and maybe I think that's why Lamar was kind of bitter towards Isaac in the end. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Like
I think so.
he's jealous that a robot
It's
can
like,
find
why
a
do you
mother he
get
can't.
happiness?
Right. But yeah, no, this was definitely a good episode. I love any time that we get to see the
The Krill.
yeah, the Krill. I love the
Yeah.
Krill. I love the enemy and everything, how they play into it. They're just
They're
mortal
very
enemies.
interesting.
They are, and
Just
I want to
this
see
episode got in the topic of abortions, which I'm like,
yes.
what the hell is this, Orville? First episode, you got freaking suicide. Episode 2 and 3, I'm like, okay, fun space adventures, I guess.
Mhm.
Episode 4, abortions, especially with everything that's been going on in the States, because I'm pretty sure it came out like a week after the most recent
Yeah, it was
ruling.
pretty close. Yeah, to the
Which
time
I'm
that came
like,
around.
what is this, Orville? Are y'all seeing the future right now? Or like, what's
Right.
happening?
But on the other hand, it's kind of cool and it's nice to see different actual things that are going on in shows, because especially ones that are developed 400 years in the future, to see that
Exactly.
these kinds of things are still, I mean, obviously probably not, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but to see
We'll
that they're
see.
interpreting that these kinds of things are still happening
Exactly.
and that they can relate to people from the past. I really like that, we can do that. A lot of shows don't get to connect with people, like especially futuristic shows. We can't connect with things like that, but
Right?
this show we can. We're going through a lot of the same things. And then that brought us into my favorite episode this season, episode 5, a tale of two Topas.
Right.
And
this
episode really showed us a lot between the two parents, between Bortus and
Clyden.
Yes, and how different they really are in their opinions about Topa.
Freaking hated Clyden by the end of this episode.
I did. And Topa, I absolutely loved her arc through this whole season. And oh my gosh, why am I completely blanking on it? Bortus.
Yes.
Bortus, can he be my dad?
I want Bortus to be my dad too. I love Bortus so much. But I think, oh my God, just the fact that, because it amazes me as to how this series has worked, because like back in season 1, I thought Bortus laying an egg was just like an offhanded joke. Right? And now we get this really deep story about gender identity as well, which I'm like, the Orville is amazing for this alone.
Yeah.
Just for the politics of it alone. I love it.
And it doesn't it is very politicky, but it doesn't come off that like, yeah, it is, but like
it seems sincere with it, the way it's telling it, right?
And it's like, it's not like all about politics. Like a lot of shows like you can watch and, oh, this is so political. Well, it does have a lot of political things in it. It's not all that show is about. Like you can watch it and enjoy the space journeys and everything like that and not really focus on the political. Well, it is a big part in it. You can just have fun on the show and enjoy what you're watching and not think too much about it. But then for those, like us and people who are interested in the kind of stuff and who are living through this kind of stuff,
that we can take that deeper look into the media we're getting, which I just love.
And I just think the whole relationship with the Mocklins, the being male and everything, just from the beginning, that has always been something, representation for me being gay, like that was something incredible. And now the fact that we're playing it into it more and getting transgender and all this kind of different things with this, I think that this show is definitely something that people are missing out on if they're not watching, because it's amazing.
I remember when I posted my video too, going like, you need to watch the Orville. And people are just like, yeah, but Seth MacFarlane humor, I don't think I'm gonna vibe with it. I'm like, no. It's like good Seth MacFarlane humor that like gets like, it's good, clever humor, but also has something to say about it in like a well thought out way, which not a lot of people associate with anything Seth MacFarlane does anymore, sadly. But because of this show, I'm honestly willing to give anything this man puts out a try now.
Yeah, I feel like he is so oh my gosh, what's the word? He has such range. It's like we've seen so many different shows from him which are just kind of ridiculous, like Family
Yeah.
Guy and things like those ridiculous
Cleveland
comedy.
Show, American Dad.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ted.
So, but yeah, and now we get to see this kind of more serious
Mm-hmm.
person, him not only writing and developing the show, but starring in it. I think he does a completely wonderful job all the way around. I love Ed
Agreed.
Mercer. I've loved his development in this season alone. I think all of the characters had great development this
There's
whole
not a
season.
single character that I just don't think is poorly written. You know, they're
Yeah.
all written so well, and I love everyone. And I love to hate some of them too.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And then after, yeah, so Topa, A Tale of Two Topas was
Yeah.
episode 5, halfway through the season, which I think was a really good halfway point for the season.
Oh yeah.
And then we got into
Episode 6,
such
which
a
is
heartbreaking episode. This
oh
is
my
the
God.
twice in a lifetime where
Gordon
boy,
just gets sent through time, and I remember messaging you about this episode,
Yes.
just going like, I can't believe I thought they were just gonna send Gordon up. I thought this is how they're gonna end Gordon's story, because the actor who plays Gordon was married to Adrienne Palicki, who plays Kelly, but they got divorced.
Ooh.
So I thought they were gonna get rid of Gordon, sadly, because of their divorce. But I'm so glad that they still kept him on at the same time. But if this was like the end story to Gordon, I think I would have been okay with it as well.
Yeah. I would have been heartbroken, but I would have been satisfied, that
Same.
he gets to stay with this and live out his life with
Mhm.
lady. Like I would have loved that. And we got a freaking Gossip Girl cameo. Like Blair Waldorf was in this episode. So that was interesting to see. But no, this
Right?
episode really pulled at my heartstrings. I kind of hated Ed for a little bit in this episode.
You can't blame them, but you can still
yeah.
hate them, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's just the emotional whiplash that this series puts us through is insane, because you can't fully hate people for the choices that they make, I find.
Exactly.
And it's a testament to how smart they are with their writing.
Well, hopefully we'll see Malloy actually get love at some point.
Honestly, like another reason why I thought they were going to kill off Gordon is because we were introduced to Charly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, cool, she's also a pilot. And then we get this episode like, oh God, is this where they kill Gordon and then Charly's our main pilot? Like, is this what's happening? Luckily
really
not until further into the season. Right?
But yeah, so then that episode 6, heartbreaking. Again, back with the emotion. We had a couple episodes where they were fun, space adventures.
Yeah.
And right back into the emotions for 2 episodes.
And then episode 7
from Unknown Graves. Yes.
Which it was also so good.
Yes. This was honestly one of my favorite episodes because we got to see a Kalon with emotions.
With emotions.
Yes. And I love to see it.
Exactly. I love a Kalon with a bit of personality.
Exactly. And I was really excited when, Isaac was going to get the operation and but
then you have that quick moment where Isaac can feel and express his affection and love for Claire, which is so beautiful because those two are so great together. I love their dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And then it fades. And then the Orville just decides to rip out your heart after gifting you something.
Literally. And oh my gosh. But, I thought this was good. I don't know. This season had me so confused as to what was going to happen with Isaac and Claire, because one episode I was like, oh, they're going to be together. And then I'm like, oh, no, maybe not. Because especially with Marcus, who absolutely despised Isaac in the beginning of this season, threatening him and everything.
He had straight up had PTSD because of the robot.
Right. So I was really scared to how this relationship was going to work, especially like, is he going to forgive Isaac? What's going to happen with this? Eventually, obviously, what happens. But I was pretty scared for this relationship throughout the course.
Same. It's just you didn't think this was like, when I remember when first watching the first episode, it's like, this isn't going to be much, is it? And then now we get into the relationship between Claire and Isaac. You see the love and affection. Oh God, the betrayal from Isaac, and then we get all this. And I also, at the end of first episode, where Claire actually sits Isaac down, is like, you committed suicide, yes? And then they have that conversation about it, which just adds so much to their dynamic too. Which is just, I love this.
I think it's really hard to say that Isaac doesn't have feelings because he does, he does.
He does. He absolutely
he just can't
has
express
feelings.
them. Like we know that this man totally is head over heels in love with Claire.
Yeah.
Like
he even said in season 2 that like, I can't operate properly without you. So
yeah, and I love them. I'm glad that they got what they got in the end. But he didn't get the emotions in this episode 7, like we were hoping, which brings us on to episode 8, which was this episode was really cool. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it was really cool to see
But what it
more.
leads to, though.
Yes, and it was definitely interesting to see more female
Mocklins, right?
Yes, because I thought Topa was gonna be, minus obviously the one
Havina.
yeah, minus her, Havina. I thought that there wasn't going to be, that many females, but there's a whole community full of females, and
which
it
is
was
awesome.
really, it was great to see Topa kind of realize that she's not alone, that there are others like her, minus that, they're convicted to this little planet, not civilization with everybody else, but there are others like her. And it was a cool episode. And like you said, setting up everything that comes after this episode was definitely a plus in this one.
Yes. And it's just, oh my God. What was it? Hearing Dolly Parton as well.
Oh my gosh, that was
so weird.
Am I hearing this right? And then she shows up and I'm like, oh my God.
And I was just like, hi, Dolly. Wow. And apparently they had to move an entire set over to like the opposite end of the stage just so that they can film that scene with Dolly.
Wow.
Right?
I mean, whatever Dolly wants, we do.
Exactly.
The queen. But yeah, no, that honestly shocked me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm hearing Dolly, and then she shows up. I'm like, is this the Orville? Am I fever dreaming right now?
Like, what is the show right now?
Exactly. And then that brought us into, episode 9, which is the episode before the season finale. And one of my favorite episodes, I think, this season.
This was definitely the one that broke me.
Yeah, definitely the one that broke me, destroyed me into a million pieces. But I loved to see the arc of Charly, as devastating as it was. Oh my gosh, I'm actually going to cry.
I was driving one day to work, and then just my head went to Charly for a moment, and her sacrifice. Like, oh God, I'm tearing up while I'm driving. Literally, this isn't good.
Like, this girl who came into the ship in episode 1 absolutely hated Isaac, wanted nothing to do with him, wished him dead essentially,
and wasn't going to save him originally.
Yeah, I mean, and now she sacrifices herself for not only the whole crew but including Isaac.
Yes.
And I just, oh my gosh, I wish that she was not gone.
Was it harkening back to episode 7 though? Because they have that moment where Isaac explains, because like episode 7 started off weird because like we just see a Kalon as a servant. I'm like, what did the Kalon do? What are they planning? And then we find out that it's their backstory. And you can see the tragedy in the Kalon's origin story and why they despise organics so much, right? And then you get that sweet moment between Charly and Isaac. And given like Isaac doesn't give off the emotions and Charly doesn't say too much, but like just from the looks that Charly gave Isaac, I was just like, this is such a beautiful moment. Like, I can't hate either of them. And right now, they're at a slight impasse where they have an understanding.
Exactly. And I think Charly finally started to realize, you did a horrible thing. Your people did a horrible thing, but it's not just because you felt like it. Like, you had justification. This is what happened to you. And I really, up until that point, we had stories about what happened with the Kalon, but we never got to see it firsthand. And I actually seen it really made us connect with Isaac a whole lot more,
and along with every single Kalon out there.
Yes, and hopefully that story kind of did open Charly's eyes and other people on Orville's eyes that the Kalon aren't really all that bad. They were just trying to fight for themselves,
right? And just Charly's sacrifice at the end, because the strength in just proving to your enemies that you aren't any lower than they are, that you are above them, that you are willing to save them despite how much you hate them, despite how much trauma they've caused and pain, just to lead to her sacrifice. I still just remember going like, she survived, right? They found a way. They can't kill off the newest character that they just introduced back in the start of the season.
Right. And oh my God, and then her last lines, "I'm coming, Amanda." And
right?
I was just like, no, Charly. And then
loved it.
Oh, that brings it, and that was the end. They didn't really have anything mention her or anything else at all. That was the end of Charly, right?
That was the end of Charly. They had like the little memorial, and then Isaac going like, I spent X amount of time with Ensign, whatever Charly's last name is. And it was like, she liked pancakes with blueberries. And I like right before we started this, I was watching bits of episode 1, and the first interaction Charly has with Isaac is just like, "Do you like pancakes? Do you eat them?" Like, I can't get enough of pancakes, and just to harken back to that first moment, I'm like, "Fuck."
Oh, that is so sweet. Oh my gosh. And but no, when we got that in the final episode, when they had the wedding and they had the special guest coming, I was like, oh my gosh, is this Charly? Is Charly coming
I
back?
was thinking that as well. I was like, sorry, Ed, what did you do? Did you
Right.
freaking matter synthesize Charly or
Well, we
something?
know they time traveled previously. Did they time
Also,
travel?
that
Exactly. So, but then no, I was still very, very happy that we got
Tala
Tala, yeah, that
or
we got Alara.
Alara. There we go.
Alara,
Sorry,
yeah.
Tala's
Tala
the
is that it
new.
took her place. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but I was really excited. I loved Alara in season 1, and she's only in season 2 for
Yes.
the first 3 episodes. But she was one
Mm-hmm.
of my favorite characters in the first season.
Alara's
She's
just so good.
great, and I literally screamed when she popped up. I was
Same.
like, oh my
I was like, Alara?
literally. But this episode, this final episode, we got to see a lot of happiness,
Right?
and a lot of like closing the books, not necessarily leaving anything open. So it scares me a little bit because
Exactly.
I mean, we did see I forget her name from the one planet they brought on board.
Georgia Williams. It's here, let me double check. Georgia.
Lucella.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes, Lucella came back and she claimed asylum on the ship, and then she had this whole internal conflict. No, I need to go back. Yes, no, and
And
if
she
went
tries
back,
to
it would have been
steal
a
a food
waste.
synthesizer and
It would have been
everything.
such a waste if she
If she really did go back, I would have been so
that would have been a
angry.
waste of the final episode.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that she got to stay. Hopefully, this is like the only thing that kind of potentially sets up, more after this episode. Like we got Isaac and Claire getting married. We have
Mhm.
Cordis and
Clyden renewing their
back together.
vows.
Yeah, exactly. Chasing each other through the woods, tackling each other, and
and then doing the
mating,
deed.
yeah, whatever they were doing. But I would like to see maybe another child from Clyden and
Yeah,
Cordis.
I would
be
love that.
interesting to see. I want to see Ed and
Kelly.
Kelly get married again. Are you conflicted on that?
I genuinely don't know if I want Ed and Kelly together, because like I would like, if they do, I'm gonna be so okay with it. If they don't, I'm also gonna be okay with it. The only part that I love the idea of Ed and Kelly about is the fact that you can have Ed and Kelly, and then they find a way to get Ed's daughter off of the Krill home planet, and then you just have Kelly, Ed, and this daughter.
Yeah.
And it would just be such a cute thing to have.
That would be really great to see.
But at the same time, I would love to see Ed try. Like, I would love to see Ed end up with Halea.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The enemies to lover trope. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for it.
No, I don't know. I hope we get more, because this season
We better get more.
Was absolutely incredible, and I don't want it to end after this season. I really hope that Hulu picks it up again, because I have more questions that I need to see answered. I have to see where the Orville goes next. There was so much this season, and every episode felt like a movie, and I just want more of it. I do feel like if it was the end, I mean, I wouldn't be horribly upset. I feel
would
like
be bittersweet, I think.
Yeah, the ending was a beautiful. If it is the ending, it was a beautiful way to end it. It wasn't anything bad. So I'm optimistic that we'll get more.
The only part that would hurt me about ending it here was just the fact that, Lamar and Tala. I wanted more of that. I would love to see more of that. And I would love to see how Claire and Isaac just keep operating even after they get married, because does Isaac now recharge in her room?
Right. No, that that is interesting. Like life it's almost like Wanda and Vision,
exactly.
like
Isaac and Claire.
Right. Claire Isaac instead of WandaVision.
There you go, something like that.
Right. But no, I would like to see, or maybe even like a spin-off or something like that, in the world of the Orville, because I don't want this world to necessarily end. I'd like to know more about like what happened. Like they talk about this utopia that they live in, essentially, where they don't have money or anything like that. and they kind of just do their job because they want to. They
They
don't
like
have
it.
to. Yeah, exactly. I want to see maybe a series of how we got to that point, what life on Earth was like, or what the
Hmm.
interaction with the life on Earth, how they got into.
Seeing more of Earth as well alone would be
Right,
wonderful.
we really don't. I mean, obviously, it is a space show, but like we
Hmm.
have all this communication with Earth and everything, but we never really go there or see anything. So I think
Right.
it would be really cool to explore more of the Orville universe, not necessarily the Orville itself. I mean, I would still love
Hmm.
to see more of the Orville, but maybe doing like a spin-off or something like that in the world of the.
I just there's just so much you can do with the series,
Yeah,
and it's it's a new horizon, like they say, and the potential is just limitless in my opinion. But if they do come back with season three, I would love to see what they do with Lysella mostly because I feel like she's now a series regular at least in some way, right? I
yeah.
hope
I mean,
she
she'd
is,
have to be. She's on the Orville now, so I feel like
right?
she's going to kind of be taken underneath.
Kelly,
Yeah, underneath Kelly's
yeah.
wing, she's going to be kind of like her mentor and everything like that. So I would like to see it. Um,
Hmm.
but I guess we'll have to
And
wait and see. Hopefully, we don't have to wait 3 years again because
hopefully not. I mean, the pandemic did delay the season, so there was that.
that's true.
Hopefully, monkeypox doesn't come and mess it all up.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, because I can't go a whole year without a Marvel movie again.
No, oh my gosh, that was
That was a
horrible.
dark time. But no,
But
because the actress who plays Alicel is really talented because she's also in season 2 of The Punisher. So
oh yes, that's where I knew her from.
yeah.
Okay, I was like, she looks so. All these people look so familiar, and I'm like, and not
Hmm.
connecting the dots. But that makes complete sense now that you said that. But of the seasons, what is your ranking, 1 through 3?
Okay, so moving from 10 up, uh, I'll say Shadow Realms, which is episode 2, is number 10 for me. And then for the record, I feel like I do need to say this. Like, just because I rank it low does not mean it's bad. It's just all of it is good. All of it is good, right? But yeah, episode 2 at the bottom, episode 3 second to the bottom. Uh and I guess number 6 is numbers 10, 9. Is number 8 then for me? And just overall, I'll just go with my top 3, honestly. I'll say Domino, which is episode 9, is one of my favorites. Episode 4 is one of my favorites, and I think episode 8, Midnight Blue, is also up there because just seeing Bortus let loose on those few Mocklins, like I know I shouldn't be cheering for Bortus because what he's doing is definitely wrong, but vindication, you know?
Exactly. Yeah,
And
no, I
then
would.
just to have that moment where Topa walks into the hall full of all the union, just going like, my child did not want to get the medical care that she needed just so that she can show you everything she went through. And that just kind of broke me. I'm like, fuck. Because,
Yeah, that was a very powerful one.
right? Topa's just such a good character. I'm curious to see
Honestly,
what she does, what they do with her next.
me too. I hope that we get more of her because her character arc this season was just amazing. Everything that she went through, my heart goes out to her. She is so
Mm-hmm.
brave and so strong. Um,
Yes.
but my favorite 3, Domino is probably my number 3.
Right.
Um, Tale of Two Topa is my number 2,
Right.
and then oh gosh, I'd have to. Ooh, this is really hard.
In short, we need to do a rewatch together.
We do. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what I'd have to say my favorite one was. I really liked number. I'd have to say number. I'd have to say number 8 too. That one I really liked a lot.
Right.
Yeah,
It, also,
but
at the same time, for number 8, I remember like being so mad at Havina.
yes. Oh my gosh.
I was
I
just like, how could you do this to her?
yeah, I thought that she was gonna be a good guy, a good girl, and
Yeah.
then no, not necessarily, but
No, the morally ambiguousness of it is just they really lean into it, and I
they do.
love that they do. Right.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, I hope that we get more of the Orville because I'm not ready to say goodbye, especially after waiting 3 years. And if we only got one season after that 3 year wait, I would be a little bit upset.
Same.
But I do hope that we see more of it, and I am very excited to see the future.
Yeah, hopefully your interview with the actor who plays Bortus will reveal if he's doing a season 4.
Yes, yes. So what's going on in season 4, Bortus?
Tell
But no,
us.
yeah, but this was really exciting. I'm glad that we got to talk about this show because I
Mhm.
don't have anybody to talk about this with. So it was really exciting to
Right?
hear somebody else's perspective on it who loves the show as much as me. So thank you so
Exactly.
much for taking the time out of your busy
Yeah.
day today.
Quick thing. Which was the episode where they were talking with the alien species where it's mostly women as the superior, and then they had to make Ed and Gordon their bitches pretty much?
Oh my gosh. I rem
I think that was the Midnight Blue one.
I think so too.
Or was it no, I think it was
Ye-
the one where they meet the Kalon with the emotions. I think it was
yes,
that one.
yep.
Yeah.
That's yep, because they yep, exactly.
That was such a
Yeah, no, that
fun
was funny.
subplot.
That was
That was
that
a
was
really good subplot.
that
I
was
actually
so
laughed
great.
my ass off.
That was
Yeah.
but
But yeah.
yeah. But no, thank you so much for taking the time out of your
Yeah.
day talking about the Orville. I hope that we get to talk about season 4 in the future. So
Hopefully in the near future.
yes, in the near
All
future.
right.
But thank you, and you have a great rest of your night, Johnny. I will
You
talk to you
too,
soon.
Donovan. Yeah. We'll
Bye bye.
message later.